Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final episode of season 21. You are back on the Discipline Therapy podcast with your host, EL Discipline, and your other host, Sway Sotomayor. We know y'all are fiends because y'all here to get what y'all need. And what y'all need is your dose weekly of what we're going to provide. Um, where not everything is completely free. Um, because we are on Patreon for a plethora of exclusive content for you to see. But what is free is judgment free, sucker free, censor free, sensitive free, and plenty of liberty. God and the ancient ancestors are great, and that means everything else is straight. So go grab your wine, popcorn, or my favorite roll of blunt, but make sure the children are in bed. Why? Because we have that soul food and sometimes vulgar conversations. Prepare your mind to be fed. Light one up, inhale life, and exhale strife. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, you are tuned in to the Disciplinary Podcast. We're
We're
here.
here.
Before we get into it, show sponsored by once again Robert Graham. It is a luxury men's apparel brand. Um, there are some women, small percentage, but mainly men. I'm wearing a piece that because I'm a car guy. For you people who are not in visual attendance, get on YouTube. It's cool that you listen to us, but you won't know what I'm going to see. I'm going to try to describe it as much as I can. This is kind of like well, every product has a name. So I think when I saw this one, I was like, I got to have it, you
Mm.
know. So this is called In the Lead. And it's like a rally racing old school car. So for me, I'm like into like cars. I've been to car shows, been to rally races and stuff like that. The
Can
material
I touch it?
is the material is cotton, 97% cotton and about 3% elastane, which is the same
It's stretch.
yeah, same material they use in yoga pants and stuff like that, rubber bands and stuff of that nature. Spandex. Um So yeah, this is the sponsor. It's extremely dope. I like it. Very lightweight.
It's good for like
Um,
this weather, right?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, and a lot of the clothes are made from India, um, Morocco.
That's
And
cool.
if you see the buttons are like high quality, stitched,
Not only that, but look,
amazing.
it has the RG.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yes, and then still
Fancy.
hear the knowledge,
Oh, like that.
wisdom, truth. The embroidery is like no other. So that's the sponsor for today. Um, and then we have also major listening platforms. Um, the major juggernauts: iTunes, Spotify. You could Deezer, Castbox, Overcast. You could Google and find us. We're also on YouTube for those ones who are listening to us. We'll say this to you. YouTube dot slash the disciplinary podcast, youtube.com, and the online store
Mm.
disciplinetherapy dot launchcart dot store forward slash shop, and also Patreon, like I mentioned earlier in the introduction. um for controversial stuff, transgender, domestic violence, domestic abuse, children abduction, sex trafficking, conspiracy theories, government conspiracy theories, things like that. Also solo, like myself as the host, BDSM content.
Mm-hmm.
Um, talking about the third book, the second book, no, the third book, which is the sequel to The Seduction of Discipline, Discipline's World, which is in a BDSM erotica novel. There's also audiobooks. You pick a tier. That's Patreon.
Mm.
And I think I got everything.
I think you did too.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we are what is episode is this? Can you help? 31?
231.
231, and it is the book discussion on
She
There's
said you
still
need help. I
unfinished
caught that
business.
one. Just
Oh,
want
I
to show the
remember.
back.
Oh, that's nice.
Got the rally.
This is a really nice shirt.
A,
They have really nice products there.
yeah. Also, like the belt too is nice. The belts, they're also reversible.
I remember
Okay.
when we did the photo shoot for this. It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Um. Yeah. The photo shoot. Yeah, it was crazy, right? Cause let me see. A couple of I knew everybody on there.
Mm-hmm.
Knew everybody on there. Let me see. How many were models? One,
One. No, two.
two. Cause Jasmine in the front with me is with the leg sleeve tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
She was a tattoo model. I met her at a Urban Ink tattoo convention back in 2015 or
Mm.
2014. This book published in 2020 July. So I met her. We always kept in contact. The cop outfit.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have it pop up on the screen. Like even if I zoom in, it's not really gonna get that
Yeah.
great. I'll have it pop on the screen. The cop outfit, who's playing Alexis in the book, Mocha. So I
Mm-hmm.
went on
For
her
sure.
show a couple of times, and then you got all the way in the back, Jillian,
Mm-hmm.
who's a model now
This was
in
doing her second cover with you, Jillian.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
He
she
was
was
on
nice.
Strong Bonds Never Break. We
Totally different in that
have Erica in the front
one.
with the collar in red. Um who's back there? Two, four.
Amber.
Okay. Anybody back there?
Yeah, me holding the light number.
No, no,
Oh
that
no,
was in
that
the
was in the other
back.
one. No,
Yeah,
that's it.
two,
Just the
four, five.
she's
Okay.
holding a bottle, I think.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Okay, so that yeah, the photo shoot was interesting, like, because as soon as we got there, like, nobody was really ready. Like, they were still
No
doing
makeup and
their
stuff.
makeup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Uh,
I like how because you're the one that superimposed this into the image, right? You're the one that found the image and put the
yeah.
picture in there. That was so. When you showed me, I was like, "How did you do that?"
Mm,
Because it looks like a mansion.
yeah.
And then when you open up the book, there's other like little pictures in the what is this called? Flap.
Yeah.
Such it was such a good shoot.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was such a good shoot.
Only on the hardcover that is where you could
Yeah,
see those. Yeah,
I
I
love this
really
picture because
like.
her face is like it
Mhm.
matches the character
Yeah.
of the in the book.
Lucy.
Yeah, Dulce.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to kind of had like an image of who was playing who based off the cover to fit like the outfit
Mm-hmm.
of who they're. So if somebody's just reading the book, they'd probably do the same thing. They'd probably be like, well, let me guess who Sophie is. Let me guess who this person. Let me you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean from reading the book. Um
So good.
Yeah,
So
so that
good.
was that. And then I'll have the back pop up too. Okay, so this one is 231. We've talked about this book prior. Now we're getting a specific segment and character. One of the main characters, Dominic
Mm-hmm.
Lorenzo Jean. So this um topic is a book seven discussion, but it is about Dom's mastermind.
Just
Mm,
how his brain works.
yeah.
Yes, it
Mm,
is very interesting how. You've also had said you've mentioned in a couple of other shows pertaining to the book sequels or the book series, you fashioned him somewhat like you. Except you've always said that there are things like he makes mistakes that you would.
I think a lot of writers do that, and even when you're writing like a film or something of a character, like you immerse yourself in that character, to kind of give them a little bit of part of your personalities and traits, and that's why it's easy to write that character.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people do that. Like for me, writing these characters, um, there's a little bit of me in a lot of them, but pertaining to the women,
That's
not
why I looked. I was like,
not
really?
so much.
Mm.
I had to like dive into something else and make it interesting. Um, you know, and kind of like my feminine side and stuff like that to kind of make it interesting.
Was that
In this
hard for you
regard,
to do? To tap into your feminine side to bring because it's funny,
yeah,
like when as you're reading the because I've said this so many times before, like um you capture like the woman's how they would react like so perfectly. Even like their the things that they say in the book.
it was hard, but what happens is, my mind is like a computer,
Mm,
so I store a lot of data, right? So I've taken things from past vanilla exes before the lifestyle of BDSM, past BDSM subs. I've taken things from maybe female family members. I've taken things from things I've witnessed. Like if let's say I was at an event or a restaurant and I saw couples arguing or something like that, man, woman. So I've just retained that. Like, and I think like for writers, right? Which is a good and a bad thing about us. Like almost every conversation could be in a book or a movie if you're
mhm,
having a conversation with them or experience. So I think that we do that, you know, it's just creative energy. It's just
mhm,
constantly flowing and you know, and ideas. So I think yeah, diving into part was hard, but when I felt like I was getting that writer's block or I couldn't, then I would remember,
mm.
you know.
So what is a main thing that you like about the character Dominic?
Um this is pretty good on the fly questions. I don't think
Thanks.
you wrote anything down. Um so one thing or
You know
okay,
what?
so
My
one
favorite number
thing,
is three, so give me three things that you like about him.
okay, so one thing I like about Dom is how resourceful he is
Mm,
and calculating and methodical. Like that's all like one category,
mhm,
right? The second thing I like about Dom is his integrity. So in the Stuck Between Two Different Worlds, right, which is the prequel to all of this, and then you have the sequel, Strong Bonds Never Break, he's cheating, and that book, a lot of it I go through the course of the discovery of the infidelity for
mhm.
Sophia. Um
Excited.
and people that kind of like believe in the BDSM life
Mhm,
would probably be like he's not cheating because it's almost like it doesn't count, right? So you're with the vanilla woman, you have a vanilla wife, and then you have Estrella, the submissive slave, and you're the master to her. So it's like some people would not look at it, but if you're looking at it like modernized for traditional, even, you know what I mean, who are like monogamous and they see that, they would say like he's cheating, right? So for that, right, some people even like if some feminists or some females, whatever, even some males, they're looking at it and they say that, oh, he's committing a sin or whatever it is. How could he do that to a woman that's being loyal and thinking of equality and all this stuff?
mhm,
um the integrity, that's the irony. I like his integrity. He's ride or die.
mhm,
He's very loyal. Like, I don't want to spoil it for a lot of people, but in the sequel with the thing with Gambino, like
mhm.
he takes the bid even though Sophia was the reason why they got caught. He's
Yeah.
like, "Yo, I need you on the outside. I'm gonna, I'm gonna take the bid, and then you know what I mean. You're gonna be my eyes out there." Like he could have just been like, "Yo, you the reason why we got in trouble. You
Yeah, you
you killed the
handled it.
capo and
Mhm,
got us into this mess from the beginning, and then they found the footprints and all that." And Like he could have just been like, "Yo, you gotta take accountability and do this," and then he's kind of just like taking that, being the provider and the man of the house and
Mhm.
the husband, and it's like she's more useful for me out there. Like it's very honorable, so he's an honorable guy. Um, the loyalty, the integrity all go hand in hand. So I could say that that's like two, and I think the third thing is just how dominant he is. Being that there's so many instances where he can like stray away from that. You know what I mean? Like so many times he's under somebody's thumb.
And
You
he
know what I
gets
mean? They
out
got
of
the
it.
upper hand on him. Gambino. Now in this one, Jefe. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
He has to like get on board now. Like I control you now. You owe me. So
Mhm.
like even in those in pressure situations, he doesn't fold.
Yeah, he doesn't lose his cool.
Like Nipsey Hussle would say, 10 toes down.
Mhm.
Like he doesn't fold. So those are three things I could say I love about the main character. Um and even when you have someone like Sophia who's pressing his buttons constantly, like it would make like a regular man just give in,
Mm.
and he just sticks by it and stays his ground until like you know she submits, eventually, and he just kind of like a no quit type of attitude, I'm gonna fight to the end type, you know what I mean, and just she gets on board, and you kind of see it with the chess game that he plays, also with dominant, and then incorporating him in the first one part, what I said I liked about him,
Mhm.
the calculating and the methodical. There's a scene in Stuck Between Two Different Worlds when she brings the pistol to the office. Who is she?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And he's very calm in that circumstance. She's emotional and she's trigger happy. Like she would do it.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't to kill him, she would like maybe wound him.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So, you know, yeah. So like for her to be that confident in doing that, like the audacity, maybe she's done that before. I've never mentioned in the book, but
That's
if
true.
this was a movie or something like that, and I was coming, maybe she's
The
done that before because
flashbacks,
she's
yeah.
so, yeah, flashback. Maybe when they were
Mhm.
kids or something, she's kind of just comfortable like pulling a gun on your husband, like,
Like impulsive also.
yeah.
Yeah.
So those are three things.
So do you feel like those three qualities that you named for Dom, do you feel like you and he share that because you fashioned him, that character, with you in
Yeah,
mind?
yeah. I've been in It's so crazy. I've always said because like I'm powerful, my words are powerful, the writing, the spoken words are powerful. So I'm very careful what I say, right? I could have written my life in another life with
Yep.
this guy.
Mhm.
But I always say I would rather have his assets, his money and stuff like that, not his situations
Yeah, it's
that he
true.
got in there. But
That's
I've
true.
been I've been in like
Some of them?
minuscule situations, not like crazy, you know what I mean, like this, which is how I wrote it
Right.
so well. um I made it more extreme, but I've been in those circumstances where like I've had, for example, bosses, like guys who like they found out how I am, and they're like now metaphorically pause, you know, feeling horny and getting wanting to get their dick stroked metaphorically, you know, and be like, yo, it's gonna be a stroke to me to have power over this dominant person.
Mhm.
So I've been in
I
those
see that.
situations where those idiots, male bosses, right, who probably have little things but feel like, oh, I don't got control outside, so let me do this here, like, right? And they've done that with me, and I've complied and stuff like that, knowing methodically one day I'm gonna get the upper hand and it's not gonna work in your favor, and it has. Whether I had to be friends with your boss,
Mm.
whether I had to come up under you from buying something or incorporating something, or just you slipped up and I caught it, you know what I mean, or did something like, you know what I
Mm.
mean, and I don't want to give things away, you know, of how, how Dom was able to, but I've done those things, and that's why I've incorporated in here to get power over these powerful men. Well, me getting the powerful men.
And the
Well, in the book, but
right.
also too in real
In life,
life,
yeah.
so like for me, I'm a very humble guy when I go out, very respectful. The moment you feel like you gonna do that, then you're gonna turn my beast up. And
Mm.
I'm not gonna do it in a violent way. That's why I'm underestimated. You're not gonna see it coming. I'm not like, cause you expect that, especially from a
Right.
black man. Oh,
Right.
they're lazy. Oh, they're aggressive. They're
Mhm.
they're abusive. They're gonna, you know what I mean? They're gonna yell at me. Oh, let me antagonize them, and I'm gonna get the same back. Like I give you the opposite, and then you're scratching your head like, oh, why is he?
Yeah,
You know
why
what I
is she
mean? Why
so
is it?
calm?
Yeah. So um, I've been in those circumstances with women too, because there's a situation with Maria in the sequel, Strong Bonds of a Break, when she had power over Dom.
Mhm.
So, I love this book because in the beginning, when they're celebrating the call, and then he picks up the phone and there's a Russian on the line, like,
Mhm.
oh, you think just because you got rid of Gambino is over? And then he says, you owe me now. And he's like, oh, well, somebody in the past said the same thing. You don't want me owing you.
Mhm.
So I like that part in incorporating that because like I've been in those situations without those words being used. It was
Mm.
indirectly. And they were always white guys. They were always
Hmm.
white guys trying to feel like oh, I got some
Superior?
power over this masculine guy, or some Italian boss guy, or um I don't know, you know what I mean? It was never a black boss that did
Right.
that with me.
Right.
They was always trying to help me out,
Trying to teach you
trying to
stuff.
teach me, so you know what I mean? Like not trying to like one up me and
Right.
be like, yeah, they trying to like check me and they did
Right.
it. I
Like
got this
jump
on
you.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it was always them. But I always was like, I always was saying in my mind that kept me calm is one day, which is a title in the sequel, Strong Bonds Never Break #9. I want to stay on track, but #9, the tables always turn. So I always put that in my mind. Yeah, the tables always turn. Like when you like treat people how you want to be treated,
Mhm.
cause one day the
It's
table's
gonna
gonna always
come.
turn. Like I treat the janitor with the same respect I treat the CEO. You don't know who the janitor is. This could be a second job. He
Exactly.
could own dealerships.
Exactly.
He could be a CEO. You would never know. You gotta treat everybody the same.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like I was coming from the hospital, you know what I mean? And seeing my mom, and like I'm going to the elevator, and we're gonna, go back on track. And there's this white guy who's wheeling this old man. He's 73 years old, and he's like, "Why are you here?" I'm telling about my mom, and he's like, "Oh, she's doing." I'm like, "She's not doing well, but we're all praying and stuff like that." And then he's like, "Where do you live?" I told him where I live, and he's like, "Do you mind giving me a ride?" This is a
Mhm.
stranger, and
Yeah.
I'm checking him. I'm like, does he got any weapons on him? So I'm looking, I'm checking because I'm not no dummy. So I'm checking. I'm like, oh, he could barely walk. All right, he's homeless. So I'm like, yeah, where you headed? So he's like, he wants to be at the train station. I'm like, oh, that's 5 minutes from where I live, but it's like 12 from here. So I'm like, yeah, no problem. Then I walk him down and stuff like that, and I walk him out. He's like, and I say, listen, stay here. It's a long walk. I'll go to get the car, and blah blah blah. Right. So it's one of my cars, which is the manual that I brought.
Mhm.
Um, and I bring everything his belongings in my car, whatever. I sit in, he's like, "Oh, this is nice. Oh, it's a manual? Back in my time, we only had 3 speed." I'm like, "Yeah, they make 6 speeds now." He's like, "You youngsters." So he's 73,
Youngsters.
right?
Wow.
So I'm like, "Where do you live?" He's like, "I live in that town." I was like, "Yo, why don't I just drive you to your house?" So drive him all the way to his house. He calls his daughter because none of his family members was able to come, and then he couldn't get Uber. So he calls his daughter. So yo, I'm getting picked up. What? What? Who's dropping you off? Oh, a friend that I just met today. I'm gonna pay you. Let me get your number. I'm like, I don't want you to get my number for that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So he's like, no, no, you sure? Like, y'all should pay for some. I'm like, no, no, I'm good. Like, I'm not losing gas.
Right.
Like, we not that far away from me. I'm headed home anyways.
Right. In the same direction.
So when I drop him off, he's in this like luxury senior citizen complex. So I
Nice.
drop him off or whatever. And I'm like, I got business cards from my store and just business cards for me. So I grab them. I'm like, yo, this is my store. This is my number. My store number's on there. My cell phone is on there. And I was like, but don't get my number to send me money. So he said once again, yo, you sure? You sure? I'm like, I'm sure. You know what I mean? So drop them off or whatever. And then I go home. So it's like it comes down to like things like that where to me it's like I'm humble, when I go out. I treat people how I want to be treated. At some point, I want to make it there and beyond where his age is.
Mm,
You know what I mean? So you're gonna get old one day. You know what I mean? Like, so at
that's
the end of
true.
the day, like, for me, it's like when you don't treat people right, you're gonna see because hell and heaven is on earth.
That's true.
So like for me, it's just like I'm just like I just operate in that way of not just thinking like I'm gonna get blessed or not thinking I'm gonna get anything in return. He needed something. I was there. It wasn't inconveniencing me,
Right. You
and
could
it worked.
provide it.
Now, if
Yeah.
he was telling me, "Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn, and I'm in Desert. We're both in Long Island," so I'm like, "Yeah, I go out there, but I ain't going out there all
Right.
week." So I
You
don't
you
think I
probably
could.
would
I
still
don't think
take
I
him
could do it.
to the train station
I
though.
would still probably take him to the train
Yeah.
station in Long Island,
Right, right,
but I
right.
wouldn't I wouldn't go to be
That
like,
far
"Yeah, I'm
out.
gonna drive you out to
Yeah.
Brooklyn, 45 minutes away."
But
And
that still shows the kind of character that you have. You know what I mean? Like you were willing to take a stranger, an older man who needed a ride. That's why you get blessed the way you because you give blessings without, like how you said, without looking for, a return.
yeah, and that's like the main thing.
Mm.
So for me, it's like when I encounter people that come to me that try to act like they not humble, then it's kind of like, oh, so now I gotta show them the dark side of me, the
No,
diabolical me. See, they don't know
that's
because
bad.
I transform when I go out there. So
Mm,
you think it's Clark Kent because that's what I show. The lion is sleeping, not dead. Oh, so now I gotta show them that because they think they coming around here like they shit don't stink. Okay, so you think you got the upper hand? All right, be all calm and smile and stuff. Yeah, I'm plotting.
mm,
So and it could take a couple months or whatever it is, it will get there. But if you change your attitude, I'm like, all right, I let up.
you get a little nice.
Yeah, I won't let it get there. You know what I mean? Which is like toxic, but it's like I'm the brother of karma. So she just told me to take care of it.
Oh no.
Scorpio too. So karma's taking too long.
How long did it take you to write this book? Because it's one of your thicker ones. Oh, that sounds crazy.
Um,
I'm
yeah. Uh, hmm,
do you remember?
probably the the photo shoot was in 2019.
How you
Um,
remember that is beyond me.
it came out July 2020. Oh, let me see. It was October 2019. That was the photo shoot.
Yeah, I remember.
2020 July this came out. So top of 2020, it took me 4 months, which was probably the longest it took me to write a book because this style was my first
Oh
time.
yeah,
This
this is
is in
the
script screenplay form.
yeah.
So I remember talking about this in the last season
Mm.
about how I had to
Can
learn
I
that.
can I
Yeah.
grab it?
So, spending my time at Barnes and Nobles,
Mm-hmm.
going to grab the books for screenplays for dummies and just learning, having an eidetic memory and just learning how to write it with the setting and the body and the dialogue.
Exactly. Just in case you guys don't know what it looks like. So it looks like it's the person that's speaking and then their words. And then the next person. So that's how the dialogue is, right? How you
And
do it?
then when you see the acronym EXT dot, that's exterior. So usually that's on the
Oh.
top left. That's
Mm-hmm.
describing the setting, like that the atmosphere. So exterior, they're probably outside.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it says int, interior, they're inside.
Mm.
Um so then then from there you start with like where they're at. Like for example, maybe it's they went to Las Vegas, dash evening, like
Mm.
something like that. That way you kind of get the setting of where it is. New York, like maybe club in New York, and then evening. But
Mm.
in the top
Take the
left,
time.
it's like interior, and then club, New York, evening, and then you see the body. And then before that, there's a narration. So maybe Dom walked into the club steadily to go meet with an
So and
associate,
so.
and then you hear Dom up top, and then bottom Dom speaking. Hey, what's
Mm.
going on with the business? Blah blah blah. And then you know you did it. So I had to learn all of that prior. So I think that's why it took me longer than most
Okay.
books.
I was gonna ask you that.
Yeah.
If that was something that you had to get used to, or if you got used to it right away.
Yeah. I mean, I teach other Scorpios this all the time because I'm an elite one where I've studied my sign for a long time. We are great at two things, power and transformation. And that part can be in direct correlation or interchangeable with adaptation. So we do a good job adapting. So
Mm.
like I've hired some Scorpios that like are a lot younger than me, and I've taught them about this, and then I've observed them and seeing, you see what I told you? I told you
Mm.
like like I had a Chinese girl or a Haitian guy that were Chinese that were Scorpios, and I told them about themselves, what they would do, and then they actually did it. And from my observation, this is what we do. This is our sign. You adapt. You do this. You do. Yes, it's changed, but you're gonna pick up on it in a couple of days. And it did, and they did.
Mm.
Maybe 3, 4, they picked up their masters in a week. Something that would take somebody a month
Long.
to a year to master, they mastered in a week. They mastered it. So this is what we do. As Scorpions, we're like elite computers,
Mm.
and it's like the hardware is the same, the software gets keeps changing, and then we adapt.
I like that.
We adapt. Like we just keep adapting. You know what I mean? And evolving. Cause at this point, like if you can't adapt, you perish.
Yeah, that's
That's the title in my second book, The Importance of Discipline. But I digress. So I believe that, for me, it's like that adaptation. So it didn't take too long. So for me, it's like I went to Barnes and Nobles during my time, and then I just retained the eidetic memory, and then I ran with it. So when I got home and I started writing, or when I was at Barnes and Nobles, I didn't need the book for
like reference.
screenplay for dummies
Mm.
for reference. You know what I mean? It just was. I remember everything. It's just like, okay, now I know how I'm gonna do everything.
What
You know,
made you sorry, what made you decide to write it in screenplay? You just did you want to just try your hand at a different like a different writing style, or did you have a purpose in mind?
um, the the purpose was a reference to if I wanted to adapt this into film myself.
Ah,
So it's
okay.
like a cheat sheet. It's like it's already there.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So that was the intention, because this, like, there's two book series in my seven books. Right? There's two
Two
book
book
series, the
series, yes.
Seduction of Discipline book series, and there's still they're the Stuck Between Two Different Worlds book series. So the Stuck Between Two Different Worlds book series, they both could be films, right? This one, I thought about like the whole film thing, so I was just like, you know what? This is like the reference, a really good reference for it.
Yeah. And I know so we have one, three female characters that you have brought on from the previous two books, right? And you also have 3 new characters.
Okay.
Okay. So out of those 6, which one was your favorite to write? I know I asked you this every time we talk about it. I always try to catch you out there and see if give me another answer.
The new ones or the
Out of all 6 of them now
okay.
in this book, which one was like the most fun to write? Or which one did you
I've always kind of like said Sophia, right? But
Yeah, you have.
Dulce is not a new character. She's in Stuck Between Two Different Worlds
Mhm.
somewhere. They'll
Mhm.
have to read the
Very,
book.
yeah, in a short,
Very
yeah.
short. Could be in the end, could be in the beginning, could be in the middle, right? So she's just reintroduced formally, right? Um, and has a bigger role, right?
Yes,
Because
a much bigger
she
role.
didn't introduce what she was, who she did, just her name.
And I like how you brought that up in this one
hmm
because you're like, "Oh my god."
So I think the I could say the most fun was Dulce
Yeah.
because if you think about it, out of all three books, I never create a female character so lethal.
Mm.
Like Sophia is probably the most like what do they call that? Cannon, loose cannon.
Loose cannon,
You know,
yeah.
I describe her as like a hothead
Yeah.
of a wife.
Yep.
She's probably the most maybe the most intimidating.
Mm.
So this is the first female character I'm creating that is uh is the most lethal in Dulce. And
She's
she has like such a like prominent role.
she's almost like on par to Dominic's character. Like she's lethal in that term. Like she's not a hothead like Sophia. She's more like how you called Dom more like mastermind.
Yeah,
She's like a female mastermind.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
She loses her temper in the end.
She sure
Yeah.
does.
Um, but yeah, for the most part, she's calculating and control. You know why that is?
Why?
Now I didn't mention this in the book, but now looking back at it, because she got backup. The
Oh, because
irony of
she had
yeah, the irony about it is there's a scene in there when all three are captured. Dom, Sophia, Estrella, and they're
Mhm.
captured at different places, different times, but
Yeah.
they're brought to the same place at the
Yeah.
same time, the warehouse. And that's when Jefe introduces himself.
Mhm.
Dulce comes by.
Mhm.
She's introduced too as the lieutenant to her father,
Mhm.
Jefe's. And Jefe has a real name. They'll have to read the book
Yeah.
to find out. So, like, in that scene, right? It's funny because I was like, yo, I want that interaction because Sophia saw it. Sophia saw, she got a thing for
Mhm.
him.
Mhm.
Why is she looking at him? She saw that. So I said, okay, we're gonna separate them because I want to for the audience to know she's not new.
Dulce.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And now in the scene with her and Dom,
She explains
she
it.
explains it.
Yeah.
And
That
then
was a
now they
good
need to
one.
go back to stuff between two different worlds. But um this is the film because every book has to tie in, right? So the thing is this: he gets handcuffed, and she's like, "Him, the ladies can stay. Him, bring him with me." They go to the separate room, and then she says, "Uncuff him." And then the guy's like, "¿Qué te pasa? Like,
Mhm.
are you okay? Like, are you sure? Like, because he's dangerous, right? Like that's what they're thinking. No, he's not gonna harm me. Está
Mm.
bien. He's not gonna harm me, right? Because she's not explaining to him, but they know each other.
Mhm.
So he's like, oh,
Or
she's
she
not,
remembers
or she
him.
remembers him.
Mhm.
So in that moment there, it's like, then she, oh, you don't remember me? Hairstyle different? And then he remembers, oh, you didn't tell me. Why would I tell you I'm in one of the most illustrious and powerful. I don't know if you're
Families.
FBI, I don't know if
Mhm.
you're a cop, blah blah blah. Right? So now um he's like, "Oh, so you run these guys? They just listen to you?" And then she's like, "I run them, blah blah blah." It's not verbatim. They could go read the
Mhm.
book. Um, I run them, blah blah blah. They listen to me. I'm in charge. And then he circles behind her, stops behind her in his tracks, grabs a fistful of
Mhm.
her hair, tugs it back so her head is tilt towards the ceiling. She's staring in the ceiling, whispers in her ear closer, but do you feel in charge? So it's like she says, I am in charge. He walks, but do you feel in charge? Those are two
Mm.
different things. So
Mhm.
in that regard, it's like she has her pops, she got the army, she got all of that. So she could talk a big game. She's very calm and collective. And that moment in that book turned her on. She's
Mm.
biting on her bottom lip, but Dom can't see that. So if I'm narrating it and directing it, I'm telling the director, let's zoom in on her
Her
face.
face, yeah.
You know
That's
what I
a good
mean?
one.
And that way you see it, but Dom doesn't see it. He doesn't
Mm.
care either,
Mm.
you know, but he kind of knows because they had that interaction in the first book of this series where he could kind of tell, oh, yeah, she's probably feeling me.
Mm.
Right. So, because what he's doing is dangerous,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
But I also like, I don't mean to cut you off. How in this book you see Sophia kind of maybe not mature, but she now can put her feelings aside for the greater good, like for the bigger
S-
picture.
Sophia has no choice because one of the reasons is she's meeting a bigger obstacle.
Mm.
She's meeting a maybe a more alpha person, woman, we'll say, than herself.
Mm.
And that woman has a lot of backup.
Maybe that. I don't know if she's more alpha than Sophia, but she has more resources than, because Sophia's. I mean, they go toe to toe. Like they go in each other's face. She doesn't back down.
Yeah,
She just Dulce has a lot
yeah,
more resources at her fingertips.
yeah. You're right. I
Mhm.
mean, and that can be subjective. That can be subjective. And you could be right based off what I was saying earlier. She got backup, and you're saying resources. Yes.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, because if it's one on one, what can you really do? There's the scene that brings me back to the calmness of when she shows up at her salon. And she's like, how
Mhm.
the fuck do you know I work here?
Mhm.
And then Dom's out of town. She wouldn't do that. She wouldn't have done that if he was in town.
Dulce.
Dulce.
Yeah.
So in that moment there's calmness where there's anxiety for Sophia, and she's rah 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 rah, and then she's calm and she's like, well, what if there was for this to happen to your salon? Like,
Mm.
just calmly,
Right.
hypothetically,
Mhm.
very, very calmly. So you're right with the resources. Because I don't think if there was backup, if if
Right.
it-
She'd be
if it
so cocky.
if it yeah,
Yeah.
because you gotta go based off, like, she's in charge, she got an ego, she got
Mhm.
backup, so which is probably why she can talk that big game and stuff of that nature.
Which
You know.
goes back to what I said, like, because Sophia had a huge ego, especially in the first two books.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? But by the time we get to this book, she what she says to Dom about Dulce leaves everybody like with their mouth open.
Hmm.
Like, is this the same Sophia that almost killed Estrella
Yeah, yeah,
over almost the
yeah,
same thing?
yeah. So Sophia, and by this time people should have the books, right? So,
Shame.
spoilers, right? So because Sophia saw that interaction in the warehouse first, when they get released, um, they get a Uber because you remember
Mm-hmm.
they didn't have
Yeah,
cars,
they got
right? They
snatched in the
they got
street.
snatched. So when they Uber back, this is the mastermind of Dom, right? So this is part of the topic. He says, give me your phones. Estee is more submissive, so she just gave it. And then Sophia is asking why, so he just grabs it from her, tosses all three of their phones out the window, and both of the ladies are like mouth open, wide eyed,
Mm-hmm.
but Sophia's the only one that's like spazzing out,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah,
this
cursing.
culture would say like crashing out,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, why the fuck would you do that? Blah blah blah, this and that and all that. And then the mastermind of Dom is, you ladies weren't paying attention to what he said. He said, "See you soon." Who can guarantee that? You don't think he got us followed? He just let us go?
Mm-hmm.
He just let us go. They took our belongings. What if they bugged the phone?
Yep.
Oh, you're paranoid. You're paranoid. Better to be paranoid, safe
Safe
than
than
sorry.
sorry. Yep.
So, like, he's like, nobody's that sure unless they got a plan. So this is
Mm-hmm.
the mastermind of Dom, right? So now when the conversation even goes further of her saying that she saw an attraction with
Uh,
Dulce and Dom, and which is surprising for you and the readers because of how Sophia is jealous and stuff of that nature.
exactly.
She, I wouldn't say give him permission. She's kind of
She
like
kind of tells
orders
him,
him,
yeah.
yeah, yo, you need to. I'm not gonna. This is YouTube, so they could read the book. What? So I'll PG it. You need to seduce her, like woo her. She's the key to saving our life,
Mm-hmm.
and she's the key to that operation. How do you know? I know, and
She's
I know
not
what I
wrong.
saw.
Yeah, she was right.
So that was something that I wanted to implement in there. Going back to the last book, the sequel, Strong Bonds of a Break, where she would say never, and then Dom said never say never. That's chapter
Mm-hmm.
2.
Mm-hmm.
Never say never. So she would never like be cool with that like Dom and Estrella
Yeah, no.
situation and stuff like that. And then now it's like she goes back and it's like, well, this is the betterment of the family and blah blah
I was
blah, and
gonna
you're gonna
say,
save us all by doing
yeah.
this. And I'm a woman and I know she let her guard down feelings and blah blah blah. And you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So she's like just going in depth
Right.
to make him understand, to make him
Uh,
understand, to make him understand. And then women can see things sometimes like even a man like of Dom's caliber can't.
that's true.
You know what I mean? So, like,
But it also goes to show you how she's all Sophia is calculating also because she wouldn't, not that she wouldn't, because in the beginning she had a problem with Esther because that wasn't him, protecting the family. Now with this situation, it is. Like everybody's getting something out of
yeah.
this. We're
And
all getting
and
safe.
I always say like when a woman is around a man for a good amount of time, she starts to adopt some of his mannerisms,
Yeah.
and she kind of has some practice when he's taking the bid. Um, you know, to behave so she could pull that off to help him get out
Yeah.
in the sequel. Sophia kind of ignites that, and then Dom goes in. So his mastermind,
Mm,
okay, like I'm gonna do what I do best.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it just all plays out based off that. Like you even look at let me see. I'm trying to see. You look at the situations, right, with the mastermind. Because part of being a mastermind, you got to be able to be a good observer
Yeah.
and retain that.
Mm-hmm.
So great eye discipline and like when he meets the Russian, because it's not just the cartels that's the problem, right? It's the Russians, and the funny thing is the Russians and the cartels work together. So
Yeah.
it's a lot that is against them because
Mm-hmm.
Dom doesn't have an army. Dom, Sophia, Bill, Robert, Estrella, that's not enough.
No,
So
not to go up against those people.
you kind of need some people probably on your side. They may not even out the numbers, but they have such a prominent role.
Mm-hmm.
Dulce, maybe Alexis, the cop.
Mm-hmm.
They got some prominent roles where they
Bill and
could
them.
help even the playing field.
Yeah.
So this is the mastermind of Dom, right? Where he's there's a situation where Sophia is so upset. I guess the mother and the kids are taken. And she's so upset and she's like, I got a bullet for blah blah blah. And then he's like, no, 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 because what's gonna happen is they're gonna already know where it's gonna be traced to, and you'll make it worse for everybody. Like
Mm.
your mom won't be safe. Our kids, Estrella, blah blah blah, maybe her kids, Bill, Robert. You'll mess it up for everybody. So this is the best thing we could do, where maybe somebody else could do it, and we won't have to get our hands dirty, and it
Yeah.
won't
Come
trace
back
back
to
to
us.
us.
Yep.
And that's when, like, she's like, "Well, you better come up with a plan. You better do some shit fast," because she's getting agitated to a part where she just wants to take matters into her own hands. So there's so many scenes of the there's so many people like that have integral parts in this book. But
Yeah.
but reason why I titled this Dom's Mastermind is because the entire book is structured around that.
I mean, the entire series is kind of structured around it. His mastermind, his abilities to get them out of, some sticky situations that
Right.
sometimes Sophia has gotten them into with um each book, how each character grows,
Mhm,
elevates,
mhm,
learns, and changes a little bit, especially, and I've always said it. To me, the person who grows the most is Sophia, because you had her starting out like
mhm.
a crazy mad woman, to now even she in this book had to take a more prominent role because of the situation that Dom is in. And that to me is always fascinating because I'm not a writer, and to see how you made them start out one way and you know to end up how Sophia has, that's a big change.
So many scenes for Dom's mastermind, um, ways and abilities to come out. One of them is his first meeting with the Russian and and Hefe. It's more than one encounter at the Hefe's club in
Mhm.
Colombia. I think Bogota. Trying to remember. Maybe that was right. Um, or maybe it was Cuba.
Callie?
Cuba. Cuba, maybe. But they meet there, and then like the women are coming out with some other substances, and then he's realizing how the Russian is behaving. So he's witnessing him, and he's
Mm.
retaining that information. Then he's absorbing how Hefe is, and you know when he leaves, Sophia's like, so he's checking in. He's like, so what did you pick up from that meeting?
Mhm.
And he's like, um, he's talking about um. So I didn't mention this last season, but I'll give it away now. He's talking about the Russian mob boss. He says he's soft, and she says, whoa, pause, and she says, why? And he says he lets the booze and women tell him what to do.
Mhm.
So he knew
Like
this
Miguel.
is how we're gonna get him.
Mm.
So he knew that. Then the scene of getting Sophia and stay involved for that guy. Then it was the scene of try not to mix books.
I know it's
you know.
hard.
So then it was the scene where getting um there's so many funny moments even too. Like Dom gets a call from him. Hey, I agreed to do this for you, but what if I say no now? And Jefe's like, yeah, it's fine. You could say no. You would wake up one day, you would go out to your car, and then the rest is
Mhm.
history. And then it's like, I'm not gonna give it away. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. And that happens. And
Yeah.
then Dom is like, oh, Sophia's like, oh, you're here early. Yeah, I got dropped off. What? Where's your car? Looks outside. Yeah, blah 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 happened. You just say that nonchalantly,
Yeah.
like it's just nothing.
Yeah, it was
So
like the
then
part in the book.
Dom is just how calm he is he's really upset, but it's just fueling the fire.
Mhm.
It's just like, oh, I'm gonna hurt you worse.
Yeah.
Cause like, he's just fueling the fire, but he's very like even that, like he's being nonchalant, right? He just probably knows, and I didn't narrate this, but I could think If I'm
Mm.
putting myself in the character, right? He just knows that in those type of situations, going crazy, crashing out with what this modern era would say, um, violence and all that stuff, right? Reacting, yeah, like overreacting, right? Not like calculating and stuff like that and thinking of your next steps. It's just gonna make it worse. So I
Mm.
think Dom is aware of that and just he was just like collecting all his information for the big boom. And then like the mastermind of Sandra, his sister, who's the attorney,
Mm.
um, goes into soundproof room with her, the information, right? That's another thing. But it puts her at risk. There's a sacrifice
Oh yeah.
for that. So then that and then then the situation with Lisa, that was very, very, sad. Like, I had to do that for something else to go. And then in that circumstance there, the coroner,
The
the
thing that happened with
examiner,
Lisa was this book?
yeah.
Oh.
So for the medical examiner, right? Dom had said, this is my wife's boom, boom, boom. And it's like, can we just make sure this is boom, boom, boom and not public and all that? And, oh, I can't do that. This is this, that. And then as he's walking away, he says, it's funny that you won't keep this confidential, but you do other things. And he stops in his tracks, which the medical examiner, which I narrate. Hmm? And he says, yeah, because how would your wife feel if she knew that you and your mistress from every Monday at 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. at my hotel that my wife owns part of, doing your thing, how would she know? If she knew that, how would she feel?
Mm.
How would your two girls feel? I think I said girls
Yeah. Yeah, no,
or
you did say girl.
how would your two girls feel? If there was some type of divorce, how would that put on them as far as trauma?
Mm-hmm.
Now it's not verbatim. They need to read the book.
Mm-hmm.
I articulated a lot better. I'm just rushing. Um, for a custody battle, do you think that would fare well with them? And then now he's like, damn, he checkmate,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then all right, we'll abide by your wishes.
Mm-hmm.
So in that regard, I throw a little comical moment where even Estrella is like, oh, Papi, you actually do have a heart. That was very, that was very thoughtful. And then it's like, Sophia never found out about that, what he did.
Mm.
So he did that for her,
For Sophia.
even though he don't like the, who,
Yeah,
person,
yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, he didn't like her. So he did that for her. And then it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, that's so thoughtful and blah, blah, you do have a heart. And he's like, oh, well, who lied to you? And then they
Yeah,
both
yeah.
start laughing. So that's a good moment. The moment with Alexis.
Mm-hmm.
Alexis is dirty.
Yeah.
We all thought she was working with Dom.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, she's
That was a
working.
big surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So once that's found out through the surprise, then there's a surprise too when Dom is like, "Oh well, she was working with you. Let me show you something."
Mm-hmm.
And then that is when you see a situation where he was talking about before when he's like, "Yo, we could probably have somebody do it for us and it won't trace back to us and
Mm-hmm.
we won't get our hands dirty."
Yeah.
So then that, and then he makes a deal with Dulce. Once Sophia gets
Yeah.
captured, right? Dulce is saying, she's swearing that she
She
had
didn't
nothing
know.
to do
Yeah.
with it. He comes in the apartment with the pistol straight out, right? And then she's like, well, if you do this, you're never going to find out where she is.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, make sure when I call, you pick up and you stick to the deal. And she says, how do you know you can trust me? And he says, fear. And she's looking at him flatly
Mm.
and she's like confused. Yeah, the same fear that made you put that pistol in your waistband before I walked in here. See,
Mm.
that I go back to that
Yeah,
mastermind, the eye
mastermind.
discipline, the
Yeah.
observation. So she's like, whoa, like, oh, this
How
guy's
he get that?
dangerous.
Yeah.
So fear, in regards to all that. So I'm very descriptive. Like I said, hand to throat, pistol on the forehead, backed up against the wall. Where's my wife? So if you do this, you'll never find out. So that's what makes him kind of just relinquish that, you know, regression and stuff
Mm.
like that, and control. But it's like, yo, stick to the plan.
And she's sticking to the plan because she found out something about her father. Yeah.
And in the beginning with the mastermind too, which is diabolical, he's trying to pin them against each other
Mm-hmm.
because of the whole capturing of the mother and kid. And he's
Mm-hmm.
like, I thought you guys don't operate like that. No women and children.
Right.
And she's like, we don't. And he's like,
Oh,
oh, so
really?
your father don't know. And he's like, you're lying, you're lying. So in that moment, it's like, even look at that. You're supposed to be the lieutenant. And that's the second thing. There's a first thing they need to read the book. I'm not gonna give that away. That's the second thing he's,
Mm-hmm.
keeping you away from or whatever it is, or undermining you. And then when she actually asks the father, pa, dad, um, he admits it to be true.
Mm.
So then now she's like just baffled, right? Because it's like, yo, a stranger, maybe the enemy was telling me the truth. And I'm like, no, no, no. I've known this man most of my
Mm-hmm.
life.
And
We
now look.
don't do that. We got certain principles in this cartel. We
Mm-hmm.
don't do that. And then it's like, you're doing it. And it's kind of like with the Jefe, right? It goes back to Dom being that thorn in the side. It's like, damn, I had the upper hand on him. Then
Yeah.
he figured out
Now he got
now he
away.
now he's like, it's like he's riling people up. The
Mm-hmm.
most people that you would think is the most calm and collective, he's
He
riling
got
them
them
up.
going.
So so that's the situation with that. Um there's so many moments of the mastermind,
Yeah.
you know.
It really is a really great book. Like the culmination of the other two with this ending. Talk about just ending. Do you, and I always ask you this whenever we talk about any one of your books, do you plan on writing another?
Maybe there'll be like more education on polyamory,
Mm,
polygamy, um, and then another self-help book, and then maybe another book of this.
yeah, one
You
more
know
of
what I mean?
that.
Because then it would be like an even number, 10. Be 3 books. You know, I'd have to see.
Yeah.
I'd
I
have to
think
see.
your loyal fans would be definitely waiting to get the another book of these. I
Yeah,
mean, any one of them because you have like different genres. You have the horror one that that's
yeah,
another really great book.
that could be a
The
sequel.
sci-fi one,
Hmm.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Um, any final thoughts? Favorite scenes? Do you know?
Yeah, definitely. I love the scenes where, well, in this book particularly because it's the one that we're talking about. I love how Sophia and Estrella lean on each other now. You know what I mean? Like you said, you had to take something out for something to grow, and you can see that. You know what I mean? Like they form a bond that in the beginning of when all this started, you would have never have thought that. And I love seeing how Sophia, she's the character for me that just is constantly something about her is new. She's seeing things in a different light. She's growing more.
Mm,
She's trying to control herself, and in this book, she really shines in that. So I like that because I like how she was before. Also, I like that she was, quick tempered and was mouthy with him. The complete opposite of how Estrella was
yeah.
with him.
I,
Because it shows, he must like that too.
I didn't like it.
No, I know
I
you didn't
I
like
I
it.
just it would have been boring. You
I
know what I
like
mean?
how she
It
changed
would have
though.
been boring to not make it. So I wanted to make it like interesting to
Mhm.
make her like that. Because at the end of the day, right? When you get a woman into that life, like she's heavy in her masculine, like she adopts things in that life, in that street life and stuff of that nature, where it's like she's not gonna be girly most of the time.
Yeah.
So it's like that attitude's gonna come out. That that going back and forth and stuff like that is gonna be out. Like plus she's like, it's not like Dom's treating her girly too. You know what I mean? Like he made her like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? By doing it since they were kids.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
in a way, it's like there was the scene of them. I don't want to go back to books, but I just want to make people
Yeah.
understand. They go to the principal's office for the daughter that was being picked on, Lena.
Yeah.
Um, so they listen. We pay a lot of money here. Why is this happening to our daughter? And we made aware and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then Dom is like, "Yo, let me lead this the night before. Let me lead this because you're a hothead." And she agrees.
Yeah.
But when they get there, she's like, he's
Goes
he's
out the window.
yeah, he's very eloquent and he threatens in the most subtle way. It's like you don't even know he's threatening you.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
doing it in the most nice way. He's like, "Wait, I thought this was a school for diversity
Mhm.
and all of these things and stuff of that nature. Don't we donate a lot here?"
Yeah.
For everything of that nature. And
He
I
hit
know
him in
you
the
and I know you
pockets.
get a tax write off.
Mhm.
Like why is this going on with my door? Oh yeah, if you don't handle this, you'll be working in Alaska. We got a lawyer. And he's looking at her like, so then when they go back in the Uber and go home, he's like, yo,
What
why do you always gotta
happened?
bring that gangster shit? You know what I mean? We're
Yeah.
not kids anymore. When are you gonna grow up? Oh, I gave birth to her. I held her for 9 months. Don't tell me. You know what I mean? So it's like I like that scene now going here where you actually sing because what he's saying indirectly is like we're not kids anymore. Let's grow. You're
Yes.
still in that street life. You're still a
Yes.
kid.
Yeah.
Like I'm not that same nigga that you from straight nigga that you married.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
like
I like
so
that.
then now it's like now you see her getting on board. She's
Mhm.
realizing what he's saying is true because now she's being put in those circumstances that she wasn't put in, stuck between two different worlds in the beginning of Strong Bonds Never Break. Now she's being
Plus
put into that. Now she's like, I got no choice but to do
plus
this for the safety of this.
she sees his dynamic with Estrella.
And she wants that.
Right, and because she sees how he's so present there with
Yeah.
her, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
because
how
you're
they
right.
bounce
You're
of each
right
other.
because remember she discovered the infidelity, right?
Mhm.
She didn't see how they were interacting. The first chapter to Strong Bonds of a Break is I want to see how you two interact.
Yep.
Then it was like, now you're right. She's actually witnessing that. He's like,
Mhm.
wow, I've known him longer. Why
Right.
can't he be like that with me?
Yeah.
But not I never narrated like that.
Right,
But I
right.
guess if you
Like, you
know,
read between the lines.
yes, you read between the lines.
Yeah,
So
I love this book, and I think everybody should Google, Google EL Discipline, all his works come up, all his books, and I promise you any one of the 7, right? Not 8. 7, I'm putting it out there, he's gonna put another book out. There's something in it that you're gonna love.
yeah, so the whole mastermind of this book of Dom is this
Is the
paramount
mastermind of
because
EL Discipline.
yeah, which is very impressive to me for the character
Mhm.
because there's so many opponents and it's just one.
Yeah.
It's not like Sophia's mastermind. Like he gets her on that board.
Mhm.
Then he incorporates Bill and Robert, gets them on that board. Then a little bit with Estrella.
He's like the ringleader.
So we're up against a lot. Well, they don't know who they're up against. You
Yeah.
know, but the odds are against them. The numbers are stacked. So
Mm.
there's really no way. It's like suicide. And the only way you're able to come out on top was to sit back, make these connections, do this, do that, flip people, build new alliances, um, and then get the main prominent people who have a lot of power on your side.
Yeah.
That's like the best thing which was able to accomplish. And the real the towards like it wasn't the end, but towards the end was like one of my favorites. Because
Mm.
after that whole thing with um Alexis and then Hefe, and it's like for some reason Dom manages to leave the room, and then him and Dulce cross paths, and he winks at her and she nods as an agreement of, remember, the apartment
Mm.
of of remember, keep your end of the bargain.
Yeah.
So in that regard of the wink and the nod, and then her going in there with Hefe, it's like Dom didn't, like, I narrate, he doesn't even know what happens,
Mm-hmm.
but can still trust that she's not gonna make last minute adjustments where she um
Betrays them.
yeah, or doesn't stick to the plan.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because the mastermind, what he said she would gain if
Exactly.
she did. So it's like, listen,
Mm-hmm.
we don't have to like each other and know this other stuff. It's ended now. Whatever romantic stuff we could have continued, because my wife was this, and this what happened with my wife. But you can gain this
Mm-hmm.
if this happens, and we both will win.
Yep.
So I'll get to walk away and be over, and then you'll gain this, and boom, boom, boom. And it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of just like, even in that regard, it's like she's looking at it because it's like, well, look how loyal it was with
Mm-hmm.
father and daughter, and then what was happening, and then hell has no fury
Fury.
like a woman scorned.
That's so true.
And then now it's like, she's gonna be loyal to her emotions and
Emotions
feelings versus thinking about what the actual
with
principle
clarity.
would be,
Yeah. Right.
you know. So then that manages to happen, and the mastermind with him is he was able to do all these things without metaphorically pulling the trigger, or maybe, you know, literally,
Yep.
maybe a few times
Maybe.
when it was needed. But
Maybe.
that's like the best part about the mastermind for me, because a lot of people, even like a dom in a BDSM lifestyle, you could look at it like you could have power with force, and you could yell the loudest, and you could do all these things, but the biggest power you got is your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like when you can kind of just get somebody to like submit, or it's like persuasion, even hypnotism and whatever, without even having to put a gun to their head,
Mm.
without having to use violence, physically threaten them, beat them up and stuff like that. It's just incredible to me,
Yeah. When you could
because
use your mind to
yeah.
do something.
And
Yep.
I think like Dom even says that, like, to Sophia. So he's teaching like the women, Sophia and Esthea, even I think that car ride from
Mm-hmm.
the kidnapping,
Mm-hmm.
and Hefe let them go. I think he said people, when they have something valuable, boom, 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 boom. So it's like in that regard, it's like they're looking at it like, so that's like how he's operating, in a sense of, how you gonna kneel to me. Like there's so many things Dom could have done, right? He
Yeah.
could have kidnapped Dulce and been like, oh Hefe, if you don't do this, but he didn't even do that.
No.
You know what I
Because
mean?
he's a man of, like you said, integrity.
But he found another way, and I think the best way was even that. But if you think about it, like, even Sophia saying romanticize her, and that's how you're gonna get it. It it worked for a little bit. Then that
Mm.
potion wore off, and then he had to figure something else out.
Yeah.
And that's why the flip was able to happen, because of the gain.
Mm-hmm.
Because at that point, it's like, because of his integrity at the end. Oh, what happened to my wife? Yeah, I ain't fucking with you no more
Right.
in that regard. But in a business aspect, listen,
Yes.
we can both win if this happens, and boom, boom, boom. And he's kind of like not giving her a choice,
Yeah.
which is like funny.
That's
No,
true.
you're gonna do this. You're
Yeah.
gonna flip. You know what I mean? Because if you don't, then
But he
y-
also gives her a sweet deal though.
yeah,
To flip,
yeah.
so
So in a way, it's like it's no choice, but at the same time,
it's a
if
good
you
choice.
choose to join the winning team, which
You're
is
gonna come
Dom's
up
team,
ahead. Yep.
then you're gonna, yeah, yeah. But that's what it was, and I think the savior in the end was Sophia, and it goes back to Dulce being crazy, and she gonna do something dramatic, and Dom is vulnerable right now because somebody's and then
Mm-hmm.
he cannot be Dom because at that moment he's surrendering. But there's one person that said in the beginning, I gotta bleep bleep for that if you don't take care of that.
Yep.
And then in that person doesn't even have to think emotionally because they got nothing to. I ain't like you from the beginning, bitch.
Yep.
So now I got my chance. And in that moment, it's like, yo, why you never take out the garbage? That was a light switch for him. Why
Mm.
you never
She
take out
brought
the
him back with that.
brought him back with that?
Yeah.
And then that little argument, oh yeah, well you never wash the dishes or whatever. So then now that's confusing the opponent.
Everybody else, yeah. That's
So
their
they
code.
they know their code, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like it's distracting them to a point where Sophia's the hero.
Yep.
Dom having to get out of his
Where he was
head
stuck,
and be
yeah.
like, "Oh, she's on to something. Let
Mm-hmm.
me play along too." Boom, 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 and we gonna get this done. And I think that was the best part. Um, and that ending was hard.
Yeah.
I had three endings I wanted, and then I was like, I think this is the best one.
Oh
And I think
man.
I think I think having Sophia do it because there'll be no guilt there.
Yeah, no, she would
Because
definitely
remember,
have no guilt.
Dom was romanticizing her.
Yeah.
So there'll be no guilt there. Remember, I ain't like you from the beginning.
Yep. She'd be like, it'll be my pleasure.
Yeah, so I think it was dope.
Yeah, me too.
Um, don't know when season 22
Got a
will.
lot of things going on right
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
so
yeah. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, you were tuned in to one of the most raw, uncut, unapologetic, real, no holds barred, Disciplined Therapy podcast. Peace.
peace.